Ex cheated with our pastor. I was married to first wife for about 9.5 years when I joined the local sheriff's office as a deputy. I was attending the academy. I was at home more often than usual, as classes were only from 8-5 during the week. I finished the academy and returned to shift work at the local jail night shift. 12-hour shifts. 2 months later I got a weird feeling that something wasn't right. My wife kept spending time with pastor's wife sewing and crafting. I was off duty and have to change my sleep schedule. I'd go to bed with wife, but couldn't sleep. I went to restroom and saw a text on her phone at midnight. It was the pastor. Thinking it must have been an emergency, I picked it up and read it. It read, "Good night, my love." I was floored. Tried to find other texts but she had deleted them. If it was innocent, the older texts would have been saved. I woke her up at 1 a.m. to ask WTF. She basically said it must be a typo, and why I was snooping. She turned tables on me and got defensive. Kicked me out of our bedroom for a month and a half. I thought I had screwed up. I was so stressed I lost 35 pounds in a month. Couldn't eat, sleep. A real basket case. I got us counseling. Recommended by the pastor. She had me apologizing to him for even thinking that anything was going on between them. She wouldn't talk to counselor, except for quoting Bible verses. She tried to play the holier than thou. After the month and a half of this I saw her diary out unguarded. She had been so guarded of it and her phone since it all hit the fan. I read how she and him were in love and had to sneak around to be together, and that his wife knew. I calmly went to her and said, "You were right for hiding your diary from me. I just read it." Her jaw hit the floor. Suddenly got all apologetic. She said, "I never meant it to go this far. I never meant to hurt you. Call him now. I want to talk to him." She called and I demanded to meet him in the morning. I did at a local fast food restaurant. I walked in with my phone in my pocket on record. I recorded our conversation. Legal where I live. He admitted to the inappropriate relationship. He was such a hypocrite. He regularly preached against infidelity, and how he wouldn't counsel a woman alone due to people thinking the wrong thing. I let him speak enough to give me evidence. I was livid. Hardest thing I ever had to do. I tried even harder to keep my marriage together, but I'm pretty sure the cheating continued. I moved out to keep my job safe so there wouldn't be any way she could lie and try to start a domestic violence issue and I'd lose my job. People at church asked her where I was for weeks. She lied and said I was working. They contacted me and I wouldn't lie for them. It took a while but it all came out and he left the church he founded 25 years ago and started working in fast food in his mid-50s. It took years for me to finally get over it, but it's messed me up as far as trusting people, especially preachers. Posting this not to be malicious, just sharing for others to read and hope it helps in some way for others going through same. The part that pissed me off the most reading this is she making you apologize to the pastor. People really are scum. Hope you're doing good. Yay. Truly disgusting. Some people will drag you to hell trying to believe their own lies. Good stuff, man. Sounds like you're doing a bit better now. Sick from both the pastor and her. And for her to just lie to your face like that, along with trying to give you shit for finding out about it. Pathetic. Thanks for joining the force too. Appreciate you guys. He stayed with his wife. My ex was left all alone. I had to get over it. We have a child together. Split custody. It's been 5 years and I rebounded and second marriage only lasted 10 months. My choice to leave in second one. Got some questions. You can't leave us hanging like this. Why did you leave after 10 months on the second marriage? While it was going on. Did the pastor's wife actually allow it? Did you try to work it out for the kid or her? What was it like trying to work it out? Second wife treated daughter like shit. That's why I left. The pastor's wife actually made him take a sabbatical for a month. I discovered the truth during that month. I felt a failure getting divorced. I tried to work it out cause I wasn't brought up to believe divorce was an option. She gave me the cold shoulder the entire time. I made her file for divorce if it was going to happen. Yay. That's unfortunate. Treating the daughter badly is even worse than cheating in my book. I've got lots of kids. If the cheating wife happened to me I'd probably try to not get divorced. But the marriage would definitely become a roommate type of arrangement. I thought I saw but can't find it now. How is the first wife doing? You did say something about being on good terms. But with the plague and all, I am not busy enough to not be prurient. Has she been in any long-term relationship since then? I have other questions. How sensitive are you? I can't ask them if you are too sensitive. I feel ya. I mean your pastor. Now that's a kick in the nuts. Yes it was. When my wife cheated, I had fantasies of smoking them both. Luckily we don't have thought police, at least not yet. Actually it's called pre-crime per Philip K. Dick Tom Cruise Minority Report. I am glad that we don't have that yet. I busted an older preacher than yours. He had been married twice. He was a drunken, porn watching, chain smoking, serial cheating, hypocrite preacher. I ended his abuse of power, trust and authority. He used his position to take advantage of vulnerable middle-aged women in church. He took notes on them, groomed them for months and had several overlapping at different stages. Trail cams on 3-minute video mode. Hidden under tables and out in the open for security purposes, of course, got them busted. Along with 180 plus texts per day foreplay for cheaters. Just date and time stamps. But you can compare video and tell a lot. That's how he met his second wife. Through an affair several years before. He never stopped cheating and she stayed by his side like a good little preacher's wife for the money and title. He screwed with the wrong woman that time and his wife knew I was going to blow it up to the world. 25% of preachers cheat on their wives. Then blame the evil temptresses. I used phone records as well. Time and date. We had someone close to us married to a pastor and he cheated on her with another woman. She also saw a text on his phone. She felt she was too old to find new love and lived with him going in between that woman and her. I really don't know why. She was a well-accomplished woman and wasn't too old to find new love. You never are. A lot of pastors are just no good phonies. I'm not the religious type anyways. I looked into that. A buddy asked me if I wanted to try it. I'm a cop and I realized it's a felony wire fraud. So I said no. Women love those authority figures. A karate instructor I know was boinking several mommies. He got fired over it. But it was hilarious while it lasted. For the record, wives, especially nowadays, probably cheat far more often than husbands. My wife is the jealous type. Though I have no reason to suspect anything other than the jealousy. I've always figured jealousy is a symptom of a guilty conscience. In most of us, jealousy is from the fear of loss and lack of self-confidence. Although I am sure in some it could be a guilty conscience. And others from lack of being able to control someone. Or wanting to control. I am suspicious by nature. In truth, the worst thing that could happen is for her to give me an excuse to find some strange. I have a much harder time feeling jealous. I am suspicious too. Because I've been lied to and cheated on more than once. Even though I've always told whoever I was with to just tell me if they had to go out and duck someone else. That I would be much more upset over the lying than the cheating. But they never had the balls to do that. The thing is that it's never been because they didn't get enough sex from me. I've always had a high sex drive. Still do. And I look a lot better than I give myself credit for. And I give way more than I usually get. But being cheated on that way made me feel even more inferior and unwanted. Then add in the psychological abuse my last ex-husband put me through. Plus not giving me sex for the last 8 years of our marriage. And well, I am still working on getting my self-confidence back and getting my head screwed on straight 4 years after my divorce. And I have a really hard time trusting anyone. Along with having a jealous streak. But it's not from a guilty conscience. And I am working on that too. How long ago was this and where are they now? 2015. I still deal with ex-wife. We have child together. Pastor. I don't know, don't care. One of my ex-boyfriend's fathers literally did the same thing. Was counseling a couple and ended up cheating on his wife with the woman and left her alone with all the kids. Basically left them all and rarely sees his family anymore. Disgusting. I am so sorry you're being impacted by selfish decisions in this way. Take care of yourself. What happened to your ex-wife after the divorce? Also, you said first wife. Did you get married again? Has she ever tried contacting you after your divorce? Being the better person out of this makes you stronger. Don't settle for less. You are in a field where infidelity is rampant. Here locally, they are well known for it. Without remorse and repeatedly. You, like myself, know the damages caused and can help make a difference in setting a good example of integrity. I was born and grew up in Central Oregon. Suddenly my family moved to Washington. My dad had been going to college in Portland. Or a few hours north of where we lived in my entire life, now 20, I was subconsciously angry with my dad because I always thought we uprooted for his school and for him to find a new job. I never treated him differently or said anything mean, something I would regret. But we left my favorite aunt behind in my school with all my friends. I made new friends. Lived closer to my dad's family, it was all great. But a little over a year ago I found out my mom was screwing our pastor, and that is the entire reason we moved. I feel so bad for the anger and how upset I was with my dad. And I blamed the wrong person entirely. I am so relieved I never said anything. Never got mad and accused him of the move. He was hurt and the move saved their marriage. But the pastor, of all people, he was married with twin daughters too. When my brothers and I went to bed, my mom used to sneak him in. Now I know why I was put to bed at 7 p.m. on the dot when I was 6. I've always thought of my child during this. It's been 5 years. It's nice to have a perspective of the child caught in the middle of bad situation. I've kept the evidence of recording, phone records, and her diary pics in ex-wife's writing in case my child ever asked and truly wanted the truth. I would seriously have to weigh that decision if and when I told my child the true story. Your child's case is very different than mine. My dad is very difficult and enjoys a drink way too much. He had anger issues before the alcohol. My mom didn't have the easiest time dealing with him. She's the one who had to go to bed next to him at night. I am not trying to condone what she did. I have a huge problem with cheating. But she was in a bad position. I honestly blame the pastor. Maybe I'm biased because she's my mom. I'll always love her, but he took advantage. My mom was in a weak position with my dad being gone and being pretty brutal when he was home. My mom worked for our church, so she worked closely with the pastor, and I'm sure she confided in him. She was taking care of 3 kids under the age of 6 all by herself and had no social life. He was the one grown-up who she interacted with, and instead of being a friend, he slept with her. I know she is to blame and definitely not innocent, but for what it's worth as the child, and I can speak for my brothers as well, we do not hate our mother. It hasn't changed our view or love for her. But it was the wake-up call to realize that my parents are humans with the same hopes, goals, dreams, desires, and faults I have. They're still people who duck up, big time. But she's still my parent. She still raised me. Though a ducked childhood, I turned out okay. We had a guy beat up a pastor so bad in my area that the pastor ended with the incident on the evening news. I never heard what happened other than the pastor pressed charges. I thought good for that guy not letting him get away with it. The image of the disgraced pastor working fast food was worth the price of admission. Very big congratulations to you for surviving adultery with your pride and self-image intact. Do you ever hear from your disgraced ex-wife? How's she holding up in that congregation? For what ye sow, so shall ye reap. Great job of taking care of yourself. Man. I have a child with ex, so I see her once a week. She is a teacher and part-time music minister at a different church in the community. After so many years we've mellowed out, and I'm more concerned about raising our child than petty revenge. She was very helpful to me during my second divorce. 2 years ago. LOL religion. Oh, the irony. I thought I had screwed up. I was so stressed I lost 35 pounds in a month. Couldn't eat, sleep. A real basket case. She turned tables on me and got defensive. Kicked me out of our bedroom for a month and a half. You are such a pussy. No wonder she cheated on you. Looks like the wife talking. I had to be careful of what I did. I was furious enough to end lives over it, but I'd be in prison for life and separated from my child. I thought things through. Not a pussy. A deal with and physically fight with killers and criminal type every day. He's projecting. Probably typing this one-handed. The other beating off to his wife, getting gangbanged by all the guys that bullied him in school. Just because I'm mean doesn't mean I'm wrong. I've noticed that you decided to attack my character instead of disagreeing with me. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.